Today we're going to be sewing the Coupeville Tote by Oro Rosa Patterns. It features unique wide grip handles as well as a crossbody strap. The exterior features a slip pocket and the interior features two slip pockets and a zipper pocket. Let's get started. The first thing you need to do is to cut and prepare all of your pattern pieces. I'm going to go through a full list of everything you need as we put them into sets. But for now, if you're going to use a cotton woven for your lining, you will need to interface those. The next step is to stabilize your base, your zipper panels, and your phone pocket backing. After that, if you're going to quilt your bag, you have certain procedures you need to follow. We are not going to quilt ours, so let's put these away and go ahead and take out the next step in our preparedness. The next step is to take your two main panels and your woven interfacing. You're going to lay that down on top, fuse it down, and then you're going to take your stabilizer and you're going to fuse that down on both of your main panel pieces. The next step is to take your top trim pieces. You're going to measure up from the bottom and you're going to draw a line all the way the length of it. You need to make sure when you measure up that you have the longer of the two sides because there is a slight slant. Then you're going to take your wider of the two stabilizer pieces and you're going to put that just below the line with about an 1/8 inch gap between them. Then you're going to put the skinnier of the two just above the line and repeat it for both of your top trim pieces. To prepare your handle, you're going to take the handle stabilizer and you're going to cut it in half from tip to tip. Then you're going to take your handle interfacing and you're going to fuse it into place on your handle piece. Then you're going to draw a line from tip to tip and you're going to install your split in half stabilizer on each side of that line, leaving an 1/8 inch gap between. Now we're going to work on the upper connectors. You're going to need both of them wrong side up and you're going to draw a line down the center. Then you're going to come a little ways up here and you're going to draw another line. You're going to attach your stabilizer centered at this second line and then you're going to put some double-sided tape. You're also going to trim just a little corner off of the edge here and that's going to make it tapered as you see on this one. Then you'll remove the backing from the double-sided tape, fold the side into the line. When you get to the part where you cut it tapered, you're going to just kind of bring it into the line. It'll be a little bit of a waviness there, but it'll be just fine. And then repeat for the other side here. And if you're worried about your double-sided tape holding, you can put some clips. You're going to take it to the machine now, and you're going to sew from one point up here all the way around the perimeter of the square end and all the way back up with a top stitch. So let's take these to the machine. Now that we've sewn around the perimeter of the upper connectors, we can put these aside. If you're going to be doing the decorative connectors, now is the time to do those. And it's also the time to do your strap option. I'm going to be using webbing, so I don't need to do that either. So let's put these to the side. And now we're going to pull out our handles again. So I have prepared the lines that I needed to draw. Measure, 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 measure all the way around and draw lines on each side just away from the stabilizer. And do that on both of them. You also need to take some double-sided tape and on top of the stabilizer, just a little bit in, the pattern gives you the exact measurements. Take your double-sided tape and stick it around the curve all the way to the other edge. And you'll want to do this on both sides. And I'm going to repeat that on the opposite handle. Now we need to get out our scissors, and where these curves are right here, we need to snip up into the curves. Do not pass that line. That's kind of why we drew the line there. And repeat for the other one. Now we're going to remove the backing and we're going to press it up at the stabilizer and use the stabilizer line as our line. Repeat on the opposite side. And then you're going to fold them in half and use clips to hold them in place. With this clipped together, We're going to take it to the machine and we are going to top stitch along this curved edge here and along this straight edge here. So I'm going to go ahead and clip this other one, take them both to the machine, and sew them both at the same time. All right, let's take them to the machine, top stitch them both, and we will be back. Now that we have sewn our handles, we can set these aside. Here we have pack number 1. We have our strap, our 2 clasps, our adjuster, and our rivets. For pack number 2, you need both of your main panels, the one with the cutout and the one without. You need your phone pocket lining with the cutout, and you need your phone pocket backing. You need your bottom piece and your logo or tag. For pack number 3, you need 2 top trim pieces, your 2 zipper panels, your longer zipper, and your 2 handles. For pack number 4, you're going to need your slip pocket and a mirrored set of the main lining side panels. For pack number 5, you need your zippered pocket backing, your zipper pocket front, both of your zipper pocket lining pieces. You also need another mirrored set of the main lining side panels, and then a zipper pull and the shorter zipper tape. Okay, we're going to start with our strap, which is pack number 1. I'm going to take one end of our strap, and we're going to wrap it around the center of our adjuster. I'm not going to put any ends on my straps. I'm going to fold them under and hide them. So I will take one of my rivets, put it right here in the middle, fold it, put it through this hole, and then put it in the last hole. capturing the center of the adjuster inside. And let's put the other rivet on. Now we're going to capture this on the inside, so we don't want to twist our webbing. We're going to put a clasp on. Keeping it straight, do not twist it. As you can see, we've caught that clasp on. We just need to connect those, and then again, keeping it straight, we are going to put this clasp on and a rivet, fold it, catch the inside, bring the clasp between that and the next set of holes, and catch that clasp in between those rivets. Repeat putting the last rivet on. And now all we need to do is set our rivets. So the next step is to take out your main panel that does not have the cutouts. And now our strap is complete. So we will set this aside till the end. And add your logo or tag. Keep in mind that you are going to have the top trim up here as to where you want to place it. After that, you're going to set that aside and you're going to get out the main panel that has the cutout for the phone pocket. You're also going to get out your phone pocket lining. You're going to take the lining and put it right sides together with the cutout at the top, and you're going to clip them in place. Once it's all clipped into place, you're going to take this to the machine and you're going to sew around the cutout with the seam allowance designated in your tutorial. Now that we've sewn around the curve, we're going to take some scissors and clip into the corners. Do not snip the stitching. Now we're going to turn it to where they are wrong sides together. And I honestly like to snip these corners off. Again, I'm going to snip this corner off here. All right, with that clipped all in place, make sure it's exactly where you want it. You're going to take it to the machine and you're going to top stitch around that phone pocket opening. If you need to use your hand and crank around the curves, feel free to do so. This is not a race. With the phone pocket now top stitched to the back, I'm going to turn it over. We're going to grab our backing and we're going to line it up right sides together with the lining. And we are going to clip them into place. Now we will take this to the machine and we will sew along both sides and the bottom, leaving this part unsewn for the moment. Now you're going to trim down all of these edges. So let's get out a cutting mat. Ruler. And this means it's probably time to change my blade. It would help to move that clip. Now we're going to take this top portion here and we're going to line it up really nice. Clip it in place. And then we're going to take them to the machine and we're going to baste them in place on each side here. Okay, we've now basted the pocket up here closed. So now we're going to set this aside for a moment and we are going to take out our bottom piece. If you are going to use purse feet, now is the time to add those. The tutorial goes through exactly how to do that. Now you're going to need a ruler and a marking pen. You're going to measure and mark a little square in each corner of the bottom panel piece. After you do that, you also need to mark your centers if you haven't already. We're going to take this phone pocket panel piece back out and we are going to line up those center marks, right sides together. When you take this to the machine, you're going to start and stop at the corner of each of these little squares you drew. You need to make sure that you backstitch well at the beginning and the end. Do not sew inside of the little squares. Start and stop at the corner. Let's take it to the machine. Now that we've sewn the bottom into place, we need to take some scissors and trim the base piece only. Leave the main panel as long as it is, but trim the base piece down. Now right here where your square was, you're going to take your scissors and you're going to snip up into that corner. You're going to make sure not to snip any of the stitching, and do that on each side. Now that you have snipped both of these corners off, you're going to fold the side of your main panel up. And then you're going to fold your bottom piece down. Make sure that your main panel piece is underneath it, still continuing, so that whenever you top stitch this down, you will catch the main panel in the top stitch. Now you're going to take this to the machine and you're going to start at one end of the bottom all the way to the other end. The reason we clip this up is so that we keep the main panel sides out of the seam allowance, but we do want this portion in the seam allowance. So make sure that it's down and let's take it to the machine. Okay, now you need to make sure that you did not catch the sides. And no, we did not. And no, we did not. Okay, now you're going to take your other main panel piece and you're going to line it up, right sides together, centered at the bottom with the other side of your base. And we're going to repeat everything we did a minute ago on this side. So from this corner to this corner, snip it, fold it up, fold your base down, and top stitch it. Let's go. Okay, we're going to make sure that we didn't catch any of our edges. And now we're going to work on pack number 3. So I'm going to get this edge against me here. And I'm going to take out the top trim piece. The longer edge right here, I want against this edge here. And I want them right sides together. Then I'm going to clip them along this edge. And because I like to do things at the machine once and here once, I'm going to repeat that for the other top trim piece. We're going to take this to the machine now, and we are going to sew with the seam allowance written in the tutorial on both sides. Okay, now we're going to take and separate the top trim from the main panel and trim only the top trim. Repeat for the other side. Push the top trim up, leaving the seam allowance behind the top trim. And I'm going to do the other side. And then we're going to take these to the machine and we're going to top stitch both of these seams. All right, we have both of our top trims top stitched. And now we're going to work on each side. We need to take a ruler and a marking pin, and from each edge at the very top, you're going to make a mark. Let's do the other side. Now we're going to take out a handle and we're going to line it up with the point at that mark and clip it in place. Same with this side. And repeat for the opposite side. And now we will take this to the machine and we will baste these handles into place. With the handles basted into place, we are now going to set this aside. Now we're going to take out our zipper tape. We're going to separate the end. We're going to pinch the end, and you're going to fold up that pinched point to the teeth. You're going to repeat that on the opposite side. And you're going to take these to the machine and you're going to baste these into the folds so that they will stay at a 90-degree angle. Okay, with our zipper tape now basted at 90-degree angles, we're going to separate both sides from each other. Set those aside for a moment, and we're going to take out our two zipper panels. Now what you're going to do is you're going to line the short edge of each zipper panel with double-sided tape. Remove the backing and then fold this raw edge over the stabilizer and stick it down. Okay. Now you're going to fold them right sides together, matching up these folded edges. You're going to take one of your zipper tapes, and with a 90-degree angle going down inside, you're going to line it up right at the end and clip it in place. And then clip the zipper tape the whole length of the zipper panel. And you can just manipulate it until you get it into place the way you want it. And repeat for the other one. All right, now we're going to take these to the machine and we are going to sew these in place with the seam allowance that's written in the tutorial. When you get to the end here, do not go off of the edge. Stay on this zipper panel. Be sure that you backstitch very well. All right, now that we've sewn these, we can take these clips off. And we're going to trim down our seam allowance. Be careful not to cut your tape at all, but trim down your seam allowance all the way around. Then we're going to come down here to these bottom corners, and we're going to trim this seam allowance down. The next step is to turn these so that they are right side out. You want to make sure this is a really nice sharp corner. And now you should have two mirrored zipper panels with the zippers, with the zipper tape hanging off of the end. You're going to want to flatten your seams as much as possible. So use whatever tools you like. This one helps a little bit, and then sometimes you may even want to take a hammer to it and hammer the folds. These ends right here are rather thick, so I will probably take these and hammer this area right here where the fold is, off camera. And then we are going to take them to the machine and we are going to sew around the entire folded perimeter. We are going to leave this edge open. So once I hammer these, I will meet you at the machine. Now that we have top stitched around the perimeter of the zipper panel, we can take these clips off. We're going to set them aside for just a moment and get back out our main body panels. We're going to take with the teeth toward the right side. So right side of the teeth to the right side of the panel, and we are going to center it and clip it in place. And now let's grab the other one. And again, teeth side, right side to the right side. And now we're going to take this to the machine and we are going to baste them into place. Okay, we have now attached both of our zipper panels to the top trim. You can see how it overlaps the handles right here. And you can see that the teeth, the top of the teeth are touching the bag exterior itself. So this part is done for now. You just need to take right here at the back between where the top trim and the main panels connect and just trim it a little bit, just to reduce the seam allowance a little bit. And do that for all of these little connections. Okay, and now we're going to set this aside. Now we're going to take out pack number 4. First, you're going to need your slip pocket piece. And I have already taken and marked my lines. The pattern tells you to mark your lines here and then from this line to the next line. with something that is not heat erasable. You want it to stay put because you're going to be ironing this piece. Now what you're going to do, this is the wrong side up that you make your lines on. You're going to turn it right side up like this. And this first side that you measured, you're going to fold it on that line. And then you'll press it. Then you're going to take it so that the fold is on the bottom. And you see this line that you drew, and you're going to fold that over. And you're going to press that. Okay? Once this is pressed, you're going to take this fold and you're going to take it to the machine and top stitch across that fold. So let's take it to the machine. With the top of that fold now top stitched, you're going to fold the back up back into place. You're going to take out your side panels. You want to put them together, right side together, with the downward portion on the side. Again, the downward portion on the side. And we're going to clip them in place. We're going to take these to the machine and we are going to sew along each edge, attaching the slip pocket to the side panels. Now that we've sewn the side panels on, we're going to take our scissors, and to reduce bulk, we're going to trim down just the seam allowance of the side panel. And we're going to open them up and press them. Now we will take this to the machine and we will top stitch on top of each of the side panels. Okay, with the side panels now top stitched into place, we're going to flip it over, grab our scissors, and trim down the corners of the seam allowance here where they join together. Now we've completed pack number 4, so let's take out pack number 5. One of these is taller than the other, and we need also our zipper tape. So we need the taller of the two. Set this one, shorter one aside for a moment, and we want to clip our zipper tape into place. You want to make sure that the teeth are up and that the lining is right side up. Now we're going to take this to the machine and we are going to baste it into place. Okay, now that we have basted one side of our zipper on, we're going to take the other lining piece, we're going to turn it up right side together, and we are going to clip this in place and then baste it in place. All right, let's take it to the machine and baste it in place. Again, this lining and this lining are right sides together. Now we have basted our zipper onto both of our lining pieces. They should be right side together. And we want to position it so that we have as even as possible at the bottom. If you did it the other way, you have a really big gap. If you do it this way, it's as even as possible. So we're going to keep it in this position and we're going to set it aside for a moment. Now we're going to grab out our zipper pocket backing and we're going to put it wrong side up. We're going to get out our ruler and a marking utensil that will not erase with heat, and you're going to make your line across the side. Now you're going to take it and iron it, press it at that line to where it is right sides together. Then you're going to open it up, and when you open it up, you want to make sure that the measurement you just made, the side you just measured, is on your left hand side. You want to now retrieve your zipper and linings, and you want to line it up on the right hand side and clip it into place. Now you're going to take this to the machine and you're going to sew with the seam allowance that's in your tutorial. All right, we have now attached this zipper pocket to this back zipper pocket lining. So now what we need to do is we're going to press it here at the zipper, and we're going to fold it underneath. You're going to keep the zipper straight up, and I'm going to press again. Okay, in case you didn't see that, the way we brought it back was just like this, with the two shorter lining pieces, the zipper tape, which we're just going to basically fold it over, press it this way, pick it up, and fold it around the back so that the wrong side is against the wrong side. And now you have it folded around the top of the zipper tape here. I'm going to put a couple of clips. And we're going to take this to the machine and we're going to do two top stitches. We're going to do one along this top folded edge and one right here along the zipper tape on this folded edge. So two top stitches. All it, you can kind of start to see it taking shape here. So what we just did is we top stitched the zipper, top of this zipper pocket here. Now what you're gonna do, you can turn it and fold it up like you're going to have it, and you can kind of see it start to take shape. You're gonna have your pocket here behind your zipper pocket. But what we're gonna do first is we're gonna take out our front of our pocket, and we're going to lay it, let me make sure I have the right length here. No, that's top. There's the side. See that? So we're going to lay it right here, right side up. See, it's going to go like this. So we want it right side up with the top right here. And then you're going to take your panel and you're just going to grab the zipper here, and you're going to turn it over and line it up. You want the right side of the zipper teeth to the right side of the front. We're going to clip it in place. All right, then we're going to take this to the machine and we're going to sew it with the seam allowance that's given in your tutorial. But just so you can kind of get an idea, let me give you a view of the angles, the way that they are. So right now we have the two zipper pocket linings here, okay? Then we have the zipper pocket backing right here, and this is wrong side up. And then we have your zipper pocket front. And this right here, right now, is right side up. So right side up, wrong side up, right side up, wrong side up, okay? Attached with the zipper teeth against the front. Let's take it to the machine and sew with the seam allowance that is given in your tutorial. Okay, our front bottom panel is now attached. So what we need to do is we're going to first fold this lining open and we're going to press it. Then I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to fold this front portion down and I'm going to press that. Now, we want to keep these two portions up for the moment. So what we're going to do, we're going to take this now to the machine and we're going to top stitch along this edge right next to the zipper tape. Be sure that you keep the back portions away while you're top stitching. Okay, now what we're going to need to do is close off the inside portion of your zipper pocket. So we're going to fold this top portion up, grab those two, and fold the back portion up. I'm going to clip these into place, or clip these together, I should say. And then we're going to take them to the machine and we are going to sew them with the seam allowance designated in your tutorial along both of these edges. Leave the bottom open. Be sure to backstitch really well at these ends because you're going to do a lot of work through these pockets. Okay, we have closed the sides. Make sure that your bottom is still open. And we are going to trim down these sides here. Okay. Now we need to fold this up and put our zipper pull on. Do not forget to put your zipper pull on. So I'm clipping them right now to make sure that they are lined up evenly on each side. And then I am going to get out my side panels, and we want to put them right sides together and line them up along each edge. All right, take this to the machine and sew it with the designated seam allowance from the tutorial. Before I go back over and do any other steps, I like to close off my zipper teeth a little bit more. So I'm going to come over here and sew over the zipper teeth on both sides, just a little more. Okay, now we're going to take our scissors and we are going to trim down the seam allowance only from the side panels. So separate them out. Now we will open up each side seam. Press it. And we'll take this to the machine and we will top stitch along each side seam. All right, we have now top stitched both side panels. Next step is to turn it over and reduce the bulk as much as you can at the top corner and bottom corner junctions. Do not snip your stitching. All right, we now have both of our lining pieces completed. So we're going to put these to the side for 1 second while we bring out our exterior. You're going to want to decide which lining piece you want in the front and which lining piece you want in the back. And you're going to put them right sides together, lining them up along this top edge of the trim. You're going to notice that there is a lot of bulk, especially where these handles and zipper panels connect. So you're going to want to do something to flatten them out, whether it's getting a hammer to it or getting some pliers and squeezing them. You are going to want to flatten them just a little bit. So you're going to do what you need to do to get that flattened out. Then you're going to take them to the machine and you're going to sew both of these with the seam allowance that is designated in your tutorial. All right, we have now sewn our lining pieces to the top trims. So now we are going to trim the seam allowance of the lining only. And you will fold it up. I'm going to use my presser here. And you'll take them to the machine and you will top stitch. Again, if you need to hammer or pinch to flatten, do what you need to do. These are some very thick seams. Okay, now that we've top stitched this main lining to the top trim, we're going to open it up And we're going to trim this seam allowance in the corners just a little bit. Now we need to take our zipper tape ends and clip them in. I'm going to go ahead and open this right here now because it will be out of the way. And we need to clip the other zipper end. And now we're going to take both linings and line it up like this. Now what you want to do first is you want to line up your two top trims to make sure they're even. And then clip the rest. Because you really want the top trim to line up, I like to take out my little stapler and I like to staple on each side to make sure that the actual junction points stay lined up. And if you do this within the seam allowance, you can end up cutting that out. You don't have to remove them because you'll cut them out. And now we will take this to the machine and we will sew both of these sides with the seam allowance designated in the tutorial. All right, it's all sewn together. Now we're going to trim down all of our excess. But we're going to leave the majority of the top trim. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around these staples and then leave the rest of the top trim. Okay, if you are doing the decorative connectors, now is the time to do that. We are not. So now what we are going to do is we are going to work on our boxed bottom. I don't know if you saw what I just did, but basically just took it and opened it up, and it just lays flat into place. See? And we are going to now clip it together. And repeat for the other bottom. And then we'll take this to the machine and we will sew with the recommended seam allowance from the tutorial, both boxed bottoms. I also recommend to double stitch over these side seams. All right, we've now sewn our bottom corners. So we are going to trim down the seam allowance. You do want to leave the center a little bit, and especially if you did the connectors. All right, now we left the bottom of the lining open, so we need to turn our bag right side out. Now what you're going to do is you're going to roll this back so you can see, roll the lining to the side so you can see the top trim. And where it is, you're going to want to open it up at the seam, butterfly the seam open. Can you see that? You want to reach in and butterfly the seam at the top trim. And then where the two interfacings are separated is where you're going to fold it for the top trim. You want to keep those seams open. So just fold it open like that. And I'm going to put a couple clips. And now we want to repeat that for this other side here. It's hard to see on camera, but I'm reaching in, finding my seam for the top trim over here on the side, opening it up, keeping it open, pressing right there between the two interfacings and folding it down. Now you're going to reach in to where your zipper pocket lining is. And we're going to pull out that zipper pocket lining. The bag is all tucked in and we're pulling out just this zipper pocket lining. Through the zipper pocket lining, you're going to reach in. It's kind of hard to show this on film. You're going to reach in and you're going to pull the bottom of the bag. the bottom of the lining out. There's one. Just a second. I'm going to see if I can get my camera higher so you can see better. Okay, what we just did is we pulled our zipper pocket lining out like so. Then we reached in and we grabbed the bottom of the lining. Both sides of the lining are now coming up through the bag. And we are going to line up this bottom edge and clip it in place. Okay. And you're going to take this to the machine and you are going to sew with a designated seam allowance from the tutorial across the bottom edge of the lining. So just have to manipulate it however you need to make it work. So let's take it to the machine. With that sewn, we now need to trim the seam allowance. And then we're going to box the bottoms of our lining. So you're going to open it up. And you're going to box it. Just kind of smush it down in the places you don't need it and clip it in place. Get to the other one and clip it in place here. We're going to take these to the machine and we're going to sew along both boxed corners at the seam allowance designated in the pattern. All right, now we're going to trim this seam allowance for both of these boxed corners. And now we can stuff that all back in. Keep this pocket out. Make sure you have it folded at the top trim. Now what you're going to do is you're going to fold this into the inside, matching up your seam, and clip it into place. Let's do that on both sides. We're basically just going to be closing up our zipper pocket lining. All right, you just want to make sure that your folds for each side are aligned evenly, because you're going to take this to the machine and you're going to sew with a 1/8 inch seam allowance along this bottom edge. Let's take it to the machine. We have now closed up our lining, so we can push that back into the pocket. Going to release our zipper ends here. And we're going to put our zipper pull on. Now, if you choose to top stitch, you need to go ahead and do that, but we're not going to top stitch. And we're going to use one of these types of zipper ends. Just need a little bitty piece of double-sided tape here on the end. I like to fold mine like this. And then fold it again like this. Almost like a paper airplane. Push it on as far as you can. And then it's a good idea to put Loctite on your screw and install your screw. Now it's time to install your rivets to hold your handles in place. We need to mark our holes. Now we do not want to catch our zipper panels in here, so I'm going to push my zipper panels in and lay this like this. This one's all the way through, so I'm going to put the rivets through the holes. And now repeat that for the remaining 3 connection points. All right, one side is done. All right, now all of our rivets are set into place, and we can set this aside for a moment. Then you're going to grab your upper connector pieces. I've already done this one and marked the holes. What you do is this angled portion that you made, you're going to fold it right where the line of stabilizer is. And then you're going to fold the flat edge all the way up to that fold. Once you have your folds where you want them, then you're going to take your ruler and you're going to measure over and up to each point on each side. After that, you're going to take your hole punch and you're going to punch holes through each of these points on both of your connectors. So I'll get that done and I'll be right back. Now that we have our holes punched, we're going to take our bag back out. Add one of our D-rings here, or triangle rings. You want to put this up over the top, centered. And then make your marks through the holes. Then you're going to want to punch these holes. Once you punch your holes in the exterior of the bag, you're then going to install your upper connector. Be sure that the fold is here on the outside and the raw edge is on the inside. Also make sure that you have your D-ring or triangle ring in place before you install your rivets. Let's go ahead and add our strap. The handles have a very unique design. They're made to hold just like this and give you some depth of grip here on the handles. One side is flush. On one side has your phone pocket. It closes with a zipper at the top. And on the interior, you have two slip pockets, one on each side. One of the slip pockets also has a zipper pocket right on the front of it. Congratulations! You've now completed your Coupeville Tote. Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed this tutorial as much as we enjoyed sharing it with you. If you like what you saw, please consider subscribing. Don't forget to like and share. And while you're at it, check out some of our other tutorials. We love to see your creations, so please share and tag Cherishing Today when you do. And don't forget to join our Facebook group, Cherishing Today Designs, for more inspiration.